Welcome, friends. This is a practice that is simple and really effective for uplifting our spirits. It's been a really cloudy, kind of rainy day here in Colorado Springs. So, this has been kind of a perfect day to do this practice. Sometimes we get that weather inside our psyches and our inner experience. We can feel sluggish sometimes or down. And we might feel depressed sometimes. And this mudra is really great to use if you're feeling that way at all, or if you're facing a challenge ahead that you want to build some confidence for. This will be great to support you with that as well. The practice we're going to be doing together is called a mudra. And mudras are really, really special practices that we do in the yoga tradition. Other traditions involve hand gestures as well. And in yoga, we call them mudras, and they're kind of like poses, actually, that we take with our hands. And they are wonderful tools that help us with our mental health holistically. They do a wonderful job of balancing our energy in our mind and in our body, and also in our spirit. So I love mudras. I found them when I really needed some help with my mental health. I live with bipolar and complex PTSD, and I really needed tools that helped me kind of in my daily grind with anxiety and overstimulation. And I was attracted to them because I love touch. Touch is really grounding for me. And I started noticing them helping me, and I learned I can do this in the grocery store. I can do this in a restaurant. I can do it at home before bed. I can do it anywhere. It's so accessible. So, and just learning a little bit more about how these work in the body. Touch is one of the fastest ways that we can calm, because when we're using our fingers mindfully to touch other parts of our body, we're using a really powerful instrument. Our fingers are so sensitive. They contain a really large number of motor and sensory neurons that have the ability to communicate directly to our nervous system. And they can cue our nervous system to shift into more of a calming state, for certain mudras, into more energizing states. They can help soothe us. They can help nourish us, depending on what the mudra is. And this one that we'll practice today is actually an energizing mudra. And it's called Vajrapradma Mudra. And Vajrapradma in Sanskrit translates to unshakable trust. And the intention behind this mudra is really special. It's inviting us to build inner resources for our organ of trust, our main organ for trust, which is our heart. So this mudra is going to balance our heart center, and it'll encourage us to open our heart to the things in life that we really rely on, that give us joy, that motivate us, so that we can find that enthusiasm again for living, and that confidence when we need it. So before we set up for this practice, I'll let you know you don't really need any props. It's optional if you want to have a journal with you, if you like to journal. You can pause the video at any time to journal, or you can write a little bit afterward if that helps you to root. Otherwise, all you need is your hands. And before we set up for this, I'll invite you just to take a moment to invite your attention inward, maybe letting go of the day so far, giving yourself a few minutes of space, and asking your inner voice, what do I really believe in right now? What do I trust right now? If you're practicing this today, chances are really good that you have a very strong heart. And we all find ourselves in different places on a spectrum of trust, in different contexts we're in, different seasons we're in. There might be some areas where we have really strong trust. It's easy to trust in certain areas. There might be other areas where it's a little hard. We might also come to this with some experiences of, man, life has been harsh. I've seen some harsh sides of life, and trust has been rattled a bit, or maybe even kind of eroded. And if that's your experience, know that you're not alone. And we can find so much strength inside of our hearts when we reach out to uplift our hearts. It can be, for me, sometimes even a daily climb, depending on what season of life I've been in, to rebuild trust if trust has been harmed or broken. And over the years, I've started to, for me, understand trust as an inner home that I build every single day for myself, one stone at a time. And, facing doubts or facing losses, I think is such a human experience. And when we meet those with kindness, growing our trust, we can mend it. And we can build that home for ourselves that we take with us wherever we go. And it's so, some days easier than others, but so satisfying to really find that trust inside of ourselves because we know that it's totally ours. So for you, wherever you land right now with trust, I want to invite you to take a moment inside yourself, again, with that question, what do I really believe in right now? Maybe it's my strengths that I know that I can lean on. Maybe it's something true that I know about myself. A goal that I'm working on that I believe in. An animal or a person in my life who I really know I can count on. Maybe a higher power. Trusting whatever comes up for you. And once you have that in mind, I want to invite you just to roll your wrists a little bit. We're going to warm up our hands a little bit for this practice. Maybe squeeze opposite hands to get some blood flowing. And our fingers. And then we're going to hold both of our hands with our palms facing our bodies, with our thumbs reaching up toward the roof of our room or toward the sky if you're outside. And then I want to invite you to bring the tips of your index fingers together to touch, like you're making a roof with these fingers. And then allow your thumbs to continue reaching upward. And you're going to notice when you do this that your lower finger is underneath your rooftop, underneath your index fingers are kind of stacked. Maybe one hand is kind of stacked over the other. That's great. And we can set these lower fingers almost like they're pillars. And if it feels okay in your hands, you can alternate one finger over the other finger of the opposite hand until they reach the bottom, and your pinky might be resting on the bottom. And taking a moment to find what feels good in your hands here in this shape. Maybe even kind of wiggle your fingers a little bit until they feel comfortable. If you need to adjust, feel free to just have one hand on top of the other as well. And then go ahead and bring your hands right over your chest. You can rest your hands directly over your chest and touch your chest with your hands, or you can leave a little bit of space in between. And you can sit in a chair for this practice, or feel free to lie down on your back, or even stand up if you feel like doing that. But we'll just take a few moments to quiet our mind and focus our attention on our hands and just notice the impacts in our bodies. So wherever you've landed in your position, I want to invite you to take a moment just to notice what your hands feel like right now. Notice the energy in your hands. You might intentionally bring just a little bit of firmness, a little bit of strength into your index fingers, into your thumbs. And feel the contact points between each of your fingers. And feel the spaces as well and the openings between your fingers. And letting your breath breathe how it wants to breathe right now. Notice how it's wanting to breathe. You might notice that your inhales are becoming just a little bit longer than your exhales when we're holding this shape. And allow that extra oxygen that you are taking in to really nourish your heart. Sensing that extra life, that support in your heart space, in your chest. You might even notice some space in your chest as you're taking in the inhale. You can feel free to move your hands a little bit with your breath if that is something your body wants to do. And allowing your spirit to lift a little bit with these inhales. What does it feel like right now to be held in your hands, to be lifted up by your breath? I'm noticing my lips are wanting to curl up a little bit. There's a smile kind of naturally coming in. Just noticing what's going on in your body. Letting yourself take in that air, that support, and then letting yourself melt tension off of your body as you exhale. And checking in with your inner voice that you brought into this practice at the beginning, the things that you trust in your life right now. And as you bring that to mind, I want to invite you to notice, what does trust feel like for me right now? It might be a whole range of things. It might be a feeling of, I can sit up just a little bit taller. It might be a feeling of, I'm safe right now. It might be a really small, tiny opening that you feel like you're taking a risk, maybe. Or maybe a resolve about something that's kind of gathering in. Maybe some excitement. Maybe it feels like certainty about something. And maybe there's also some doubt right alongside it, or some questioning or some uncertainty. And if that's happening, that's perfectly okay. It's normal for both of those feelings to be here at the same time. Allowing your body to feel how it wants to feel right now, just like we allowed our breath to breathe the way that it wants to breathe. It is all good. It is all loved. And maybe taking the things that you trust, or the thing that you trust that's really come up the strongest for you, maybe seeing if you can invite that to come into your hands. Allow your hands to hold what you trust. Let your fingers really become alive with what you trust. Noticing what that feels like. Maybe inviting in here a sense of security, a sense of protection over your heart. Knowing that you can come back to this posture, this mudra, when you find yourself in a place of worry, or if experiences in life are dragging you down. You can come back to this place that you have what you need inside of your hands. And everything else outside of your hands can come and go because you have what you need. Taking 2 or 3 more breaths just to set yourself in this place, to linger a little bit longer. And when you're ready, you can gently release this posture, and you can take some nice hand rubs to your hands. Maybe roll the wrists again, get some blood flow back in your hands. Great job with that. I have some more information about mudras in the description below if you want to learn more about them. There's a wonderful book by Joseph LePage that talks a lot about how mudras really support our body systems. And I hope that this helps give you some uplifting energy and some confidence that you can take with you. Thanks for taking this time to care for yourself.